Welcome back to GCTV as we feel as if the sun has set on the Longines Global Champions Tour season, and it sets with a victory for Daniel Deusser, who may not have had the smoothest of opening rounds, but boy was he smooth in that second round, smooth enough to get onto the top of the podium and to be crowned champion of the 2022 Lgct Super Grand Prix. Frederik De Backer is alongside me. We have relieved Yoli Mitilineo and Michael G. Duffy, who were great, by the way. I loved having them in studio. I always love saying opening thoughts, reaction. Can you try and sum up your experience of what you watched in your commentary box from tonight's Super Grand Prix?
I saw perfection. I saw perfection from Uljano Vidzani to test these riders and horses. I saw perfection from Daniel Deusser to win this. It was perfection that needed. It was a very good round from Katrin Eckermann. There was a very good effort from McLean Ward, but it was perfection from Daniel Deusser. As a result, he will look back at the runs that he produced here in this Super Grand Prix, and it was not always super safe, but in the end to still believe in his chances and to still get his stallion motivated, or to feel the motivation of his stallion, though maybe he was struggling, that he still wanted to jump it the way he did and to go as fast the way he did. That is perfection. That is the perfect partnership.
Before we get into the riders, and we'll start with McLean Ward, by the way, you mentioned Uljano Vidzani, and at first that plank from 3 to 4 was becoming problematic, but then I landed up realizing that there were faults all over. Was this the perfect way after we suggested he maxed it out and dialed it up? Was this the perfect round 2 course he put together?
It feels like it. It was bigger. It's the biggest that I've walked all year since the last Super Grand Prix.
You showed us there were no more cup spaces.
There was nothing left. So it was really big. There were technical elements. There was delicacy in the fences that he built, in the colors that he used, but it's not about the number of clears or where the faults fell. Okay, you don't want all the faults on one joker fence, but the spread is one thing. But mainly, if you look at it, nobody had more than 2 fences down. That's really impressive. So that makes it a very fair course, because we said it in commentary, it's so difficult if you have to protect 9-year-olds like Kalamandia and a 9-year-old like Nijs van Zorgvliet, but you also have to challenge Tobago or Double H Azur.
Yeah, well, Uljano Vidzani once again bringing all the magic to the Super Grand Prix in Prague. Let's hear from our third place finisher, McLean Ward.
I mean, that's my fault. So grateful to Annie. She jumped absolutely incredible tonight. It was a little bit of a sloppy mistake on my part in the first round, but you know, I'm grateful to be here with this horse at 16 and the way she's performing. It's really something remarkable.
And how do you rate your chances to get onto the podium tonight?
Yeah, probably not very good. You know, you have 4 or 5 very good ones here, but it's going to be a good, strong finish, and the horse performed her absolute best.
McLean Ward having a word with us tonight after his performance. How heartbreaking must it be on a stage like this to jump 1-time fault and clear and still only get onto 3rd place on the podium? What does that say about the level and what we always talk about, just the zero room for error at this particular stage?
I think McLean on one side will feel bad about the time fault, knowing that it was up to him. She was there to jump the double clear. But and we spoke about it in commentary, but it's really nice to listen to what he says. You know, he's grateful to be here with the mare. The mare has been out for a long time with an injury. He picks and chooses his competitions. He's very selective of where he brings her, but when he brings her, she's always there. And once again, at the age of 16, about to turn 17 in just a month's time, she once again answered the call when he asked upon her.
It's so interesting that you bring up the Katrin Eckermann story, because again, on a 9-year-old Kalamandia, going on to hold on to provisional lead for a very long time, in fact, and only was it up to Daniel Deusser to take that Super Grand Prix title away from Katrin Eckermann. She spoke to GCTV.
Amazing. My heart just jumped unbelievable and made it really easy for me. It's the first time that I'm here, and I must say, what a show, the cloud and everything, and what a sport, I must say, wow.
And how did you feel when you were going into that second jump off? What went through your head?
I must say I was quite relaxed, because just like I said, my horse jumped really good. It was in a top shape and made it really easy for me.
We saw her ever so briefly during the Global Champions season, but Frederik, on a 9-year-old, first time in Prague, to get onto the podium with a double clear, is that arguably the best performance of Katrin Eckermann's career?
Never looked at it like that. Yeah, it is.
Hey?
Simple. It actually is. I never thought about it. This is the best performance in her career.
The fact that she had to come up against the likes of Henrik von Eckermann, who was going in search of back-to-back titles, a very smooth-looking Harry Smulders, who will probably feel very hard done by to not get onto the podium. McLean Ward, super talents. For Katrin Eckermann, can you put into perspective what a second-place finish in this field means to her?
I think she really deserves that second place. She really fought for it. The thing is, she was first to go of 5 riders on clear, and she set the first reference time. She took a lot of risk. She didn't take all the risk because there were a few riders that went faster, like Harry Smulders, like Peter Devos, and of course like Daniel Deusser. They went all quicker, but she pushed 4 riders to make. She pushed 3 riders to make a mistake, which allowed her to finish second. So her round that she produced really put the pressure on them. And if she had gone any slower, she had given more room to the others. So she, going later maybe, if she would go last, she would challenge, of course, the leading time of Daniel Deusser. But maybe then she would have made the same mistake as Peter Devos. So she really put the pressure on those 4 riders after her by that challenging first double clear.
Speaking of mistakes, there is a lot to take out of events like this for young riders in particular. Mikey Pender eventually finishing 4 and 4 on 8. Sanne Teysse, very difficult opening round, getting to 29, eventually retiring in the second round, as we would imagine. But can you try get into the mind of Sanne Teysse as a young Dutch superstar with such a bright future? It didn't work out for her now. What can she take away from lessons like this, from jumping on a stage like this?
This is a very difficult mental game, the sport of show jumping, and she has to handle this, and she will handle this in the right way. It's a rail and it's a run out. No, and it's not even a run out, it's a circle, because she didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
If you're a scoreboard journalist, you'll say, whoa, wait a minute.
What a terrible performance. Yeah. It wasn't that at all, was it?
That's not the case. It was a call of her to ride that circle, and then to come in and to retire and to give that horse another jump inside his impressive ring. He will go out with a good feeling. She came out of the first round with a grimace on her face, came out of the second round with a smile on her face. So that already starts to put things in perspective. But this will not get into her head, because it is only a rail and a circle.
And you get the feeling, you get the impression that because of how young she is, because of how good she is, that this is not going to be the last time that we will see Sanne Teysse, we would imagine, at a Super Grand Prix in Prague.
You have to put it in perspective also that Conquidam is now turning 17, just like Double H Azur. That's also part, of course, of the story of a career of a horse. A career starts like the one of Kalamandia, like Nijs van Storkvliet, the 9-year-olds. A career also comes to an end at a certain point, and this career is not going to last for another 3 years, so she will have to pick and choose her moments to maybe qualify for this Grand Prix. You also have to look at it from that angle.
Yeah, the developing of horse talent for the future for Sanne Teysse. She certainly has the ability, but as Frederick says, the lifeline on Conquidam at this level perhaps is nearing its end. We caught up with the Dutch rider.
Well, a bit mixed feelings, of course. It was a really tough course for my horse. I knew that before. The round was actually not that bad. Okay, on the end you get a lot of penalty points for the time. But okay, I'm happy with my horse that he gave everything, and it's enough now.
And what happened? Why did you decide to retire?
Well, actually, I didn't want to jump the second round, but unfortunately we didn't get anything if we didn't just start it. So yeah, I felt a bit stupid to not just jump one fence. Otherwise, it meant that he jumped the whole course for nothing. So I better jump that one fence.
Thank you so much.
So tough lessons for Sanne Teysse coming out in the second round and eventually retiring. The defending champion, Henrik von Eckermann, having again, not a difficult night, but 4 and 4 to come home in 8 does suggest that he was far off the pace from Daniel Deusser, Katrin Eckermann and McLean Ward. We caught up with the man who was looking to try and make it back-to-back titles.
Okay, of course, the result is a bit of a disappointment. You always go in a class with him and you really look for the first place. But this is our sport. That's what's so fantastic. You know, they're animals, they're no machines. And I could have been riding better the first round. I rode too much forward on the 3, opened him up too much. I had that one. Now in the second round, it was a bit of a gamble, tried to go fast. he had one rail, but he felt really, really good in the second round. So I'm delighted with him, and it was not our day. Off the next show.
A lot of people's favorite, Henrik von Eckermann. Does 8-8 feel as bad as it looks on the overall standings? It's not the scoreline he or many people would have expected, but again, it's a rail in a rail, Frederick. That's it.
That's exactly it, and that's how you have to look at it in such a selective Grand Prix. He also pushed for the time in that second round. I believe he rode the second fastest time of all in this Grand Prix after Peter Devos. So he tried, he knew that with the result from round one, he had to put the pressure, he had to take the risk, maybe to get somewhere. We've seen riders come with 4 penalties from round one onto the podium in previous runnings of this Super Grand Prix, and that's the game plan that he played. That's the risk that he took. If he would have gone for a slow clear, it would have brought him anything. So he had to go for a fast clear. He got a fast 4. It happens, but it was the right thing to do. What he did was the right thing to do to really challenge that time.
How would you sum up the season of Peter Devos? Outstanding in the Lgct season, pushing Ben Mayer right to essentially to the final day, not getting over the line, coming to a Super Grand Prix, jumping clear in 4. It's wonderful performances, but falling short on each occasion. How do you think he's feeling mentally? How would you describe the season of Peter Devos?
I think we'll talk to him later on, but I think underrated is maybe the right word. You know, you come second in the championship with Ben Mayer claiming that historical third, so a lot of attention goes to this. Here, the Mayer jumps the fastest round in the second round. She jumps a brilliant clear in round one. He's not on the podium. He won't make the headlines, but he has to look at that mare that has jumped in the last 13 months above expectations. You know, the expectations with which she came to his stable were not to be the horse that would carry him to another second place in the Longines Global Champions or to jump this Super Grand Prix. That was not at all the expectation that they had when she came to him.
Much like Conquidam at 16 years of age, should we point out that Mom Stupid de la Roque is 15 as well? We know that Peter is blessed with an incredible stable, but as far as Mom Stupid de la Roque's career is concerned, again, are we entering that same phase now where this could have been a beautiful swan song? Will there maybe be an opportunity still to reproduce results like we saw in 22? From
what you hear from him, there is at least another year in her at the very top level. She is a highly anticipated broodmare, actually, Mom Stupid de la Roque, so that's also a career that she has got ahead of her. I think he'll take it as it comes. He tells us that she feels really fit and sound, but she'll tell him when it's time up. But I don't think the time has come just yet. All right,
still a lot of opportunity for Mom Stupid de la Roque and Peter Devos to be able to perform in 2023. That brings us to Daniel Deusser. And he almost frustrates me to the point where we no longer know what to say. Talk to me rather about the change in approach maybe from round 1 to round 2, because he looked ultra aggressive in round 2, but round 1 wasn't super comfortable. What do you think happened in between the mindset to change the way it did?
I don't think a lot changed. I think he felt that he didn't have him always in front of his leg, or maybe that he had that incident or that strange feeling. I think the strange jump at first on the triple bar, and then at the same location it was now an oxer with the bush underneath. He also looked down. I think that Deusser just wanted to make sure. I think he felt that he wanted to jump clear, Tobago. That he had one of those nights where he was not going to touch a rail, and that he just needed that last bit of push and motivation from Deusser to get him across. And that's what Deusser gave him. That's why he worked a little bit harder than normal, just to make sure and to give to Tobago that feeling like, hey, I'm on your side, you can do this, I'm here to guide you, let's go for it. I know that you don't want to make a mistake, I'm sure that you're not going to make it. I'm giving you that confidence, and I think that's the round that you saw from Daniel Deusser.
If we talk about the blessed stable that Peter Devos has, well, Daniel Deusser is right up there in that conversation as well. In fact, during the GCL Super Cup, we've been talking about the opportunities and the options that he has. The form and the class that the man has with the stable that is available to him. Could 2023 be a really important, a big year for Daniel Deusser, you think?
There is no big year for Daniel Deusser, because it's literally every year is a big year for Daniel Deusser. In the past, I think 5 or 6, he's never left the top 10 in the world. He's won a Grand Prix in the last 4 seasons. I mean, he's continuously there with different horses, and they come and they go, and he gives them a break, and there's 2 others, and he manages it, and he's fantastic surrounded at the Stefek stables in Brussels. A whole team taking good care of him, that he needs to focus on riding and nothing else. And you see that entourage really pays off. There's a lot of effort, but it does pay off. It's fruitful.
All right, let's hear from Daniel Deusser, your 2022 Longines Global Champions Tour Super Grand Prix winner.
I'm still a little bit speechless in the moment about how that horse performed here tonight. I think he really underestimated a little bit the height of the fences, and he really tried his heart out. Like I said, I have no word for that in the moment.
You have so many fantastic horses in your string. Why did you pick this horse for this competition?
Yeah, he had a little bit of break and he came back very strong, and I know that he's very handy in the smaller indoors. He jumped here, I think 3 years ago already in the Super Grand Prix. Did very well, and with the form he had in the last couple of weeks, I thought this is my horse for the Super Grand Prix.
The venue may have cleared out, the fireworks may have stopped, but these memories will live long in the mind of not just Daniel Deusser, but of everyone in attendance here at the O2 Arena in Prague and everybody watching on GCTV. Wonderful scenes tonight. The week is still not over. We still return tomorrow for a GCL Super Cup final as well.
Is that tomorrow?
It's
still tomorrow.
In a few hours, we'll be back for the GCL Super Cup. Can I give you closing thoughts? Have you expensed all your thoughts on the Super Grand Prix? Is there a final thought that might come to you before we say goodnight and head out to the Super Grand Prix or to the Super Cup final?
Yeah, so this was a sold-out night. I think 8,500 people were here over the entire day. And they were waiting for the Prague Lions to come in. There was no Czech rider in here. Peter Vos is half Czech, I think, by now.
Are you telling me that tomorrow will be an even more electric night than what we witnessed tonight?
Yeah, I really think so. I really think so.
The electricity will be in the arena tomorrow. We will pick up that electricity as well. The Prague Lions, the GCL Super Cup final, the team title up for grabs live tomorrow on GCTV as we say goodnight from the O2 Arena tonight. And again, a big congratulations to Daniel Deusser, your 2022 Lgct Super Grand Prix champion. You and I are back tomorrow?
Sure thing.
GCL Super Cup final. We'll see you on GCTV. Good night.